Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. If you're just getting here, Sports Talk Independent Music on this episode. I'm your host, DTong. A lot of NFL to cover week one. What'd you think about that? I know we got a couple more games still to go, Monday Night Football, but I thought it came out pretty well. Some teams getting blown out of the water like Miami. Players after the game thinking, I don't want to be here anymore, asking for trades from their agent. It's a pretty big deal, if the players think it's flopping and, think that you guys are not providing them. Really it's a safe atmosphere too, trying to put mediocre players back there, and it's embarrassing. And so some players don't want to be a part of it. At the same time, that I don't know if Miami would do much better, but it was a pretty much slaughter and it looked very unfair. But credit to Baltimore. They look good as well. Ravens looking real good. Lamar Jackson taking care of business. But let's see what they do next week. Obviously Miami trying to, rumors of tanking and players leaving. Obviously not a good situation there. And it hasn't been for a while, but it's just getting worse, it seems. So we'll see if they can continue forward, get a couple wins maybe. I don't know. And that division is going to be tough too, because you saw what New England did to the Pittsburgh Steelers. And that was an flat out embarrassment. And they're going to add another piece to that. They're going to basically get what the Steelers had and just put it right on top. And hopefully it works out. Hopefully this is the answer, that Antonio Brown can move forward. That, it was just a Raiders thing. Obviously he was in Pittsburgh for a while. It wasn't, and sometimes things run its course to where it probably was time to leave. And maybe Oakland wasn't the best bet for him. And obviously it turned out that it wasn't. And, it has a lot to do with seeing the vision of, is this a team that's going to win some ball games, and being on a team that knows what it takes to win some ball games. So it has a lot to do with his confidence, I believe, in the Raiders as an organization, as a team, to try to get some wins. And I don't think he has that. And so either, he wanted to play his way out of it, or, it just all worked out this way. But now he's with New England, and we'll see next week possibly how that's going to work out. Because with Josh Gordon, it's already working out. The guy's a beast. Obviously when he's healthy and his mind is focused on football, he's a big impact out there, and so he's missed a few years. Let's see if he can make a couple of those up, not just 1 year, and so, yeah, let's judge what you do this year, but next year and the year after and forward for the next few years while you're healthy to play football, and I understand you got your money. There's no doubt about that, but obviously you have something to prove to yourself, or you would have just left and been done with it, so let's see what he's got. And it's obviously a lot. He's a hard guy to take down. It's going to be interesting. Moving along. Rams, Carolina. That's a good ball game. A lot of back and forth. Still some scoring, some defensive plays as well, but the Rams come out on top 30-27, despite McCaffrey having like 200 all-purpose yards, a couple touchdowns, doing his thing, his part. The Carolina defense let a little bit too much go, and also on the other side, a couple turnovers too many for Carolina as well. But 30-27, week one, both of these teams look pretty good. It was a good matchup, and that's what you're going to get when you have a good matchup, is somebody has to lose in every matchup. So Tennessee, surprising me even, in Cleveland. Cleveland looked pretty sloppy, but credit to Tennessee putting out a good product on the field, both sides of the ball. And it looked right away. Cleveland's marching down the field, 6-0, missed the extra point, downhill ever since. It seemed like nothing went right ever since then. And Tennessee slowly crawled back and then just pulled away quickly there in the second half. So 43-13, a learning experience for the Browns, maybe a humbling experience. You come in, well, we got the team, we got the score, whoop. And, you saw the Miami Heat back in the day. You don't have to compare them to what, the Browns can do at all, because I don't think the Browns have what it takes to go to the championship, even with what they have right now. Or to be in a championship game like the AFC Championship now, compared to what you got Chiefs, even with Baltimore out there looking like they do now. That's another challenge for Cleveland. We talked about it preseason that, it's just a different division. And so when you're dealing with that division and you're the third or fourth best, well, your playoff chances are slim and none. So let's see if they can turn it around. Rebound, 8-8 season. Yeah, that's a win, but yeah, you want to get something, playoffs. And that's what their expectations are and why they gathered who they gathered. So moving along, Kansas City, Jacksonville. And, that was a good game at first, but then all of a sudden players getting hurt and things going back and forth. It ended up being 40-26. Kansas City covers that 4-point spread easily. I went 2 for 3 on my cover the spread picks this week. I had Green Bay, I had Kansas City, and I had San Diego, who had it in the bag, was about to get a touchdown, threw an interception when they didn't need to throw the ball. It was ridiculous, but they still did. Threw an interception, brought the opposing team back into it, and it turned out, it was the Colts, and the Colts took advantage of it, tied the game, went to overtime, and then I had the -6.5. And when you have the -6.5, and the Chargers score a touchdown to win it at overtime, they don't kick the extra point, so you only get 6, and so there you have it, 2-1 this week. And I don't want to pick a lot of other games. One, because it is preseason. I had some other ones in mind. I liked San Francisco. I liked the Bills, but Bills for the win, not for any points or anything like that. But other than that, there weren't really a lot of games I was confident in. And even that Baltimore-Miami game, I didn't know what Baltimore had to put up. I didn't know if Miami was going to be able to compete. Maybe they're at home, maybe, first game of the season, coming out the block, having something to offer there with Fitzmagic, nothing to offer. Rosen came in, nothing to offer again, and it just turned sloppy. So we'll see if that continues. Minnesota 28-12 over Atlanta. That was surprising. It started off really fast and slowed down. Minnesota dominated early, and then their defense kept Atlanta at bay the entire day. Julio, slow. Matt Ryan, slow. Running game, slow. Turnovers, yes. Minnesota taking care of the ball and putting up points. They got a healthy core, and that's really early in the season. You would think Atlanta would be able to compete a little bit better, and it's just one of those weeks. They compete in Atlanta. It might be a different game, especially down the road if they play again and it's in Atlanta. And, it's down the road where some injuries are occurring and some things are happening. So we'll see. Buffalo 17-16 over the Jets, and Jets look like they had that one. Buffalo comes back, takes the win. Good for them. And again, we talked about Indianapolis, the Chargers 30-24. Philadelphia started off slow. Washington started off hot. And this was a game that flipped. It wasn't like, Atlanta where they just didn't do nothing. Philadelphia said, you know what? We got to turn this up a little bit. And they sure did quickly and fast. And 32-27, Alshon Jeffrey making an impact. Obviously, Wentz throwing some touchdown passes, getting some things done. But credit to the defense in the second half for holding Washington down so that Eagles offense can get up and get some scoring in. 21-20, Seattle squeaks by Cincinnati, and that was a good game too. A couple injuries there too. But again, Seattle at home, you flip this game, flip the scripts into Cincinnati at home, be a little different. Joe Mixon went out early. If, he was in the game, it'd be a little different. Detroit, Arizona. Detroit had it in the bag. Arizona comes back, and credit to Murray. That's what he's there to do. And Arizona had a chance to possibly win it or get in a field goal range. They made some mistakes, but Larry Fitzgerald, great catches to even get Arizona into overtime, and they end up in a tie. Couple more games here we'll run down the line. Dallas Giants wasn't very fun or entertaining unless you're a Dallas fan. Obviously, Giants might be more of the same this year. Unfortunately, it's going to be tough again in that division. You're playing tough teams, improved teams. Dallas, healthy, is a very strong, talented team and growing. Dak, obviously another year, another off season to prepare, to get better, to get bigger, to get stronger, to get faster, to get, read defenses better. And Zeke didn't have to play any preseason games, did what he had to do. He comes out the box and he's hitting hard, playing, just like he did last year. So knock it out the park. Dallas at home, 35-17. Make it look good. 31-17, San Francisco over Tampa Bay. And again, we talked about New England, 33-3. We don't need to talk about it anymore. A couple games going on tomorrow or today if you're listening live, archives. That's a Monday Night Football doubleheader. We got Houston and New Orleans, and then Denver at Oakland. Oakland, probably best they got rid of Brown. Obviously they wanted to piece him in there, but he hasn't really even been there. So they've been working without him anyway. So one way or another, they're playing the Broncos, who have some things to figure out too. Let's see what they can do on offense and defense. Defense is highly, highly rated. Let's find out. We'll go over the week 2 matchups coming up in the next segment here. We're going to get into some music right now. Appreciate you tuning in. If you're just getting your sports talk, independent music right here on DTong Radio, EDM, indie pop, R&B, hip hop, rap, funk, jazz. We put it all down here. Country, you name it. We play it right here on DTong Radio. So if you're on the way to work, plug in the auxiliary port in your car, USB port, wherever you are, put the headphones on, go for a walk, run, do your thing, or just hanging around the house. Turn it on all your platforms, podcasting platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, SoundCloud. You can find me on social media. Just look up DTong Sports, DTong Radio. You can find me, and you can find the show and find your next favorite music artist right here on DTong Radio. Yeah. What's going on, y'all? Welcome back. Thanks for tuning in. If you're just getting here, sports talk, independent music on this episode, which means I'll be interrupting you throughout the show, just talking a little bit of sports here and there, getting into it. It's getting to that time of year that we're going to have everything going on here pretty soon. Once the NBA starts, hockey starts, we'll have it all. Some tennis right now, some golf if you want, but it's NFL season, week 1. Couple more games still to go Monday night, but we'll get into the matchups of week 2 already. That's right, because we won't have a sports show the rest of the week. It's going to be all music all show long for all the shows all week long. And you can flip back in the archives. You want to catch one of those right now. All Independent Music Weekend Showcase, midweek music playlists. Had a couple interviews recently. JB Dale 72, Joe Barksdale, also DZ Diablo. Go check those out. We've got DZ's on YouTube. We'll be uploading Joe Barksdale's to YouTube here tomorrow. But those are up right now on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and more. We also want to introduce you to the Fiverr Life. You can check out that podcast as well. It's on your favorite platforms, including anchor.fm/the Fiverr Life. We'll discuss a little bit about Fiverr.com, get into it. I've been a seller there for 7, 8, 9 years. I don't even know. 2011, April 2011. So coming up on 9 years in April. So 8.5 years, and just dive into how it can help you out, how it's helped me out, and a bunch of little inside information as I go through it to help other sellers, buyers, people get introduced to it. Fiverr.com, Fiverr.com. Week 2 in the NFL starts with Thursday night football, Tampa Bay at Carolina in division game. But again, both of the teams taking an L. So somebody's coming out 1-1, somebody's coming out 0-2, which you definitely know that's not where you want to start. I see Tampa Bay starting there, but you never know. Anything can happen. I like Carolina at home. Moving along. Sunday's games, let's start with the early ones. San Francisco and Cincinnati. 49ers can start 2-0. Cincinnati wants that win, but at home should be a good game. Close game within 3-4 points, I'm sure. Chargers at Detroit. You know, Chargers almost blew this one. Turned around, got the win in week 1. Playing the Lions in week 2, who basically blew a win, turned it into a tie. I'm liking the Chargers on the road. Minnesota at Green Bay. Packers at home, got the win against a decent Bears team, a great defense. You know, obviously 10-3, but credit to the Green Bay defense for coming up big and having Minnesota come in. They're going to need that defense for sure. Minnesota putting up points quick and early. I don't know if they're going to be able to do the same on the road at Green Bay. Big game here. Division matchup again. Moving into Green Bay this time of year, it's not so bad, right? You know, but if you're Minnesota, you're coming out there like, uh-oh, better watch out for Mr. Rodgers. I like Green Bay at home, getting it done by maybe a field goal. Tennessee, Indianapolis. Titans look good, didn't they? Colts, they looked all right. You know, they stayed in there, but obviously with Andrew Luck out and retired, they're missing a lot of firepower. You know, that's just something that I feel like they're going to have to get used to. You know, you're missing out on a guy who would bring you back in fourth quarters, able to get you a couple touchdowns in the fourth quarter, who might throw an interception or two, put you in a bad position and get himself out of it and bring you back for a win, you know, be relevant. I don't know if the Colts are going to be struggling this year. At Tennessee, who just surprised the Browns on the road and really look, as long as they stay healthy, you got Derrick Henry running over people and running past people. The guy's quick, and people just underestimate his quickness. On his strides are just amazing, and the Tennessee defense came up big. So credit to the Titans. I think they'll do it again next week. Started off 2-0. Miami at home against New England. Do we got to talk about this really? This is a perfect game for Antonio Brown to get out there, right? Get a couple of touchdowns, get started, get things rolling. Oh, boy. I mean, really, I'm not putting nothing against Baltimore and what they have to offer right now. But if they can throw up 56 at Miami, I'm sure New England can do the same. It's going to be ugly. Buffalo at New York. Giants going to be looking for a win here. Buffalo trying to go 2-0 on the road. I like that game within a field goal. I don't know who I like at this point juncture. My instincts would say the Giants, but Buffalo had a nice comeback. Give them credit. Seattle at Pittsburgh. Should be a good ball game there. Pittsburgh trying to fight for a little redemption after getting blown out of the water. Hopefully it won't be that kind of season, because if it is, you might find BB maybe retiring, maybe, just it's going to slow down fast if it's going to be a tough season. And it's already, two tough matchups right away. You got New England, then you got Seattle coming in, and they're hungry, and they just got off a really close, tight win, and they'll be coming in ready to go. So Pittsburgh better watch out and be able to put some points up on the board. Washington hosting Dallas. The Redskins looked good at first. Keenum looked good at first, and then they blew it. And hopefully they won't do that, but at the same time, Dallas is coming in and they're consistent. They're going to get up and down the field. They're going to have their opportunities to get things done, and I don't know if Washington's going to be able to stop them. Dallas, I think, can go 2-0 to start the season with that impressive win against the Giants in Week 1. Arizona at Baltimore. It's going to be a different day for the rookie coming out facing the Ravens, and I think the Ravens are going to put him on. They're going to do some things to him to force him to make some turnovers, and I like Baltimore. It's not going to be as bad as the Miami game, but I like Baltimore still to put up maybe 30 to 20, something like that. Should be a convincing win. Jacksonville at Houston. Looking forward to that. I like to see what Houston's going to put up tonight against the New Orleans Saints. I got the Saints going to the Super Bowl against the Chiefs. So Houston comes out of the block. We'll see what they can do in Week 2. I think they can take care of Jacksonville, especially Nick Foles out now. They're going to be resorting to a lot of Fournette, who I believe just got a little hurt already. He's just got his first fumble in his NFL career. Hurt his ego more than anything. Kansas City at Oakland. By the time we see this game, we'll see what Oakland has to offer, but it's still not going to be enough for the Kansas City Chiefs, who, again, look like what they had last year and can be even better this year. Chicago at Denver. These are afternoon games next week, Week 2. If you're just listening, we got Chicago at Denver. Should be a good ball game as well. Again, the Broncos still got to play, see how they look for me to make any judgments on that. And then we've got the New Orleans Saints at the Los Angeles Rams, and that'll be a good game in itself. We already know that. Philadelphia at Atlanta is the Sunday night football game next week, and we've got Cleveland at the Jets for Monday Night Football. Get it early in the season. This is why they do it, because they know if they scheduled this game later in the season, it wouldn't be a Monday night. They'd have to flex the schedule, move it around, and do what they got to do. That's Week 2 in the NFL right here on DTong Radio. Appreciate you tuning in. Make sure you check out the sponsors as they come along. Check out the artists as well. Click the links on the show page. Help support podcasting. Help support independent music.